Coming up on episode 15 of the Countdown 2 podcast, I'll tell you why it might be coming home, whilst Kee and Jamal tell you who to have on your Euro 2020 accumulators. Yo, boys, you're back, man. How you been holding up? I see you out outside getting them rays on it.
All good, bro. Taking in the heat.
Yeah, man.
And the
Good,
season
man.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the Euros.
But the Euros this year, Keenan, matches have been played across Europe. How do you feel about that? Is that a COVID risk? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's different kind of Euros, isn't it? So everyone's in their own little bubble and whatnot. It's a bit crazy. Like, it's not what we're used to, innit? But at least it's on. I guess that's the main thing, innit? Like, it's just a plus that it's on, and obviously we get to see some good teams in the Euros as well. To be fair, along with some good players.
Yeah. Now I hear all of that, man. Just to introduce the viewers to this podcast, really, it's going to be a Euro 2020 preview. Pretty much just going through each group, giving our verdict, our predictions, and also giving our outright predictions and thoughts really on who are going to be the contenders and who might flop. Because I've got a couple controversial opinions, of course, but we'll leave it. We'll see. But yeah, just to start off with, I know you guys are probably familiar with the format of the Euros, but this year, like normal, 2 teams are going to be going through, but there's going to be 4 more teams going through as the third best placed team, and that's going to be based on points. Is this the first year they've done this, or has it always been like this?
I think they did it in 2016.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. I think Portugal finished third in their group, if I remember correctly.
They did.
And they went on to win it.
Yeah, actually. I remember claimed in the last day. But yeah, anyway, straight into the Key. We've got Group A. We've got Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales. So who are your top 2 coming through here? And is the one of the third best placed teams coming through this group?
I was speaking about this with friends the other day. I think with this group, don't write off Turkey. You know, I think Turkey could possibly top the group, if not come second. Yeah, Turkey, bro. They're playing some good stuff at the moment. And Yilmaz, the striker, I think he's gonna have a good tournament. But Mancini's at Italy, and obviously his win rate, his win success with Italy at the moment, they've been on fire. So I think it will be out of them two, to be fair. Third place, not too sure. I think it's anyone's, but I mean, the top 3 teams in that group should be pretty much straightforward, isn't it? Looking at it anyway.
So who you got, Switzerland or Wales? And do you think that they'll tell you enough points to go through?
Well, it is with Wales. They're a good team, yeah, but I think without Ryan Giggs, I think they'll finish 4th. So I think Switzerland, Italy, and Turkey. It's out of them 3, whoever finishes first, second, and third. But I think Italy will top the group, and then out of them 2 for second and third place. All
right, cool. Jamal, Key was just mentioning Barak Yilmaz. They've just won the league with Lille, and they've also got the right back, haven't they, from Lille? That Shirley, whatever his name is, Shirley.
Yeah.
Linked to Spurs, it's supposed to be good, isn't it? But the same optimism for Turkey, Jamal.
I don't, I've got I got on rock bottom. I don't think I ain't got going for it at all. I think I've got my dark horses for the whole tournament are going to top the group in Italy.
Yeah.
I think on paper, everyone's sort of talking about Portugal's and France's and England's and whatnot, the big names. I don't think you're wrong to talk about them, but I think on paper, Italy's team, they've got experience. They've got some top ballers, especially in midfield. Unbelievable ballers in midfield.
Yeah.
They've got a goal scorer up front in Immobile. They've got pacey wingers around him. Other than sort of fullback, which I think is kind of like a bit of a weak spot, they're quite sweet. And even in fullback, they've still got like Florenzi and stuff. So they've got decent players all over the pitch, and no one's really talking about them. I got them topping the group. and I got Switzerland coming second. I just think, they're used to going to tournaments. Turkey, I can't remember last time I saw Turkey at a tournament doing well. Wales had a decent Euros 2016, but 4 years on, it's not really the same sort of team. They've got sort of newer players there. I don't think they're as good. Switzerland, you kind of know what you're going to get. There's players that are playing at a high level in like Germany and stuff in their team. I think you can always kind of count on them. Xhaka, yeah, Premier League as well. I think you can always count on them to sort of navigate their way to like around the 16 and stuff. Shaqiri types. He's always going to pop up with a goal or two, a goal of the tournament. Remember the bicycle kick he scored a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
last couple of goals in the World Cup. He's got a hat-trick at the World Cup in 2014. He's just that type of player, isn't it? So I expect Italy and Switzerland to go through, and I think Wales will take third spot. I just don't know if they're going to finish in the top 4 for third spots.
Yeah. I'm with you, Italy, they were 100% qualifying. Their qualifying record was one of the best there was. They conceded less than 6 goals, I think, and they scored 30-odd goals. They were really impressive. Like you say, Jamal, I've got written down here, their midfield, it's something to behold. I mean, they're all like diminutive. Yeah, they're all quite small. But, like typical Italians, isn't it? They've got that nasty streak about them where they'll throw the challenge and stuff. Like, they love it. But
technicians as well.
Yeah, technically they're so good.
Yeah, technicians, bro.
Yeah, man. So I've got them top of the group as well. But yeah, you're a bit wild having Turkey back with the group, Joe. That's mental. I've got them coming.
I just think they're gonna rely on, like Kee said, they're gonna rely on Yilmaz, who he's had a good season, but he's mid-30s. The talented creative source from midfield is Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who's been shit for the past few years. I just don't see. I saw enough of Ozan Kabak at Liverpool, and that's going to be their starting centre back. I just don't think they've got enough to get through what's kind of a tricky group. They may finish third, but I don't see them. I don't see them winning 2 games, basically, which is what you kind of need to do to make sure you get through.
They've got that Jensik Under, whatever his name is, the one that was at Leicester.
I mean, he didn't really do much at Leicester, did he? So,
exactly. But I've got them two, and I've actually got Wales getting one of the top 4 spots, because the way I see it, I think they'll beat Switzerland. I think Switzerland are pretty poor, to be honest. Last few tournaments, they've always struggled for goals, and Xhaka's your captain. I don't know. I just feel some type of way where you can't trust that guy, man. This isn't mad every game, yeah. And you just hope it doesn't cost your team, but I don't know. I've got them coming rock bottom. But going into Group B, which is actually a pretty straightforward one in my opinion. Kee, you've got Belgium coming top, surely, yeah?
Yeah, I've got Belgium, and then I had Denmark, and then Russia, Finland. That's how I had it. So not much changes to how it's already laid out. But yeah, Belgium should just breeze that. I don't think they take any L's in that group. Draw at the max, but they should pretty much sit first comfortably, bro.
Belgium was strong. You say, Jamal?
Yeah, I got the same order. I think they go 3 for 3. I don't see anyone in that group stopping them getting any points. Yeah. Should sail through comfortably, and I got Denmark second as well. Yeah.
Has Hazard gone?
Yeah.
I know Forgan's there, but is Hazard? Yeah.
Whether he's fit or not's a different story, but he's there.
But he's there. Yeah.
We'll get to Hazard later. Yeah, I got a couple of things to mention with Hazard, but yeah, it's a full house, bro. I've got the exact same order as you guys, but to be a bit more in depth, I've actually got Russia getting one of the top 4 spots. Really, because I think Finland should be 3 points for everyone. It should be pretty simple, and whoever wins, or whether the draw, Denmark and Russia, 4 points for both of them should be enough, in my opinion, to see them go through into the knockout stages for both. We don't really need to spend too much time on that, but if you're playing fantasy in Euros, you should be having Belgian players all over your team, because they will stack up points, because they're going to hand out a few punch-ups in that group. But yeah, moving on to Group C, we've got the Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia. Why the North Macedonia now? Why put it just Macedonia? Kee, we got the Netherlands top, yeah?
Yeah. Nah, bro.
No.
There's something about him, bro. Frank de Boer, like,
Yeah.
he's recently. I think it's the players. The players are getting onto him about switching formations. Like, we're not used to this. We're not used to that. The coaches don't know what they're doing. I think they might have low key. They might have a stinker this tournament. You know,
Yeah.
I had Austria, surprisingly Ukraine second, and then the Netherlands third, and then North Macedonia fourth. I could be wrong, but the Netherlands, they just don't seem right at the moment, man. I don't know if it's the ball or the players or the formation. I just don't know, man.
Bro, looking at that group, there is no way they can't at least win 2 games. I know I probably would have said the same about Germany in 2018, their group, but like, yo, Ukraine, Austria, North Macedonia.
Yeah.
Maybe they lose to Austria, but Ukraine and North Macedonia, Jamal, they're not losing to them two. Come on.
I'm not as far over as Key, but I'm sort of leaning towards Key's side. I don't trust them, man. I don't trust them. I don't trust the manager. Jose said it best a few years ago. Worst manager to ever grace the Premier League. One of the worst in Europe. A dreadful manager. And like Key said, players just don't seem to be buying into what he's doing. I think Van Dijk not being there is a big miss. I don't know who's left there. They've got De Vrij and De Ligt at the back, but I don't. It's not the same to me. There's no dominant figure there. Keepers, Tim Krul's going to start. Can you go into a tournament with Tim Krul as your number one? I don't know.
Steckensberg, whatever it's called, bro. He went to the Euros, which shows how desperate they are for goalkeepers.
Well, initially they picked Silerson, but he got COVID, and then he kicked him out of the squad. Oh, really? Well, he got COVID like last week, so he could have been cleared, innit? So I don't know what went on there. I just don't trust them, man. I don't know.
So what you got?
I couldn't split them, so I had either Holland or Austria top. I had one of them will be top. If you had to push me, I'd say Austria, Holland second, and Ukraine third. Well, it wouldn't surprise me to see Holland finish third, bro.
Yeah,
really wouldn't. Really wouldn't.
Don't trust them, man.
I don't trust them at all. They're relying on Memphis for goals. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you both hit it out. I've written down here. They've definitely got bust like potential, like calamity, like France 2014 World Cup type, 2010 type of disaster. But their midfield is good enough, in my opinion, to see them through this group as tabletoppers really to win it. Their midfield with Frankie de Jong, Wijnaldum, that's pretty strong. Up front, like you say, Memphis, I'm not sure. I would have took Bergwijn, even if he's had a bad season. But they got Quincy Promes. Again, these players you can't really rely on. And that, you know who I don't like actually for the Netherlands? That Dumfries, the right back from
Dumfries.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's poor. Every time
he's a mistake, bro.
Mistake waiting's happening. He just doesn't. His calibration just isn't there, bro. It's a bit mental. But let's move on. Yeah, move on. Group D. Group D is England group. Boys, it's coming home. It's coming home. I'll start here. I've got England. I think they could probably sweep this group, just win every single game. Croatia, I'm not too high on. Their team's old. There's no Rakitic. There's no Mandzukic. So a lot of the experience there is gone. So it's down to a 35-year-old Modric and Kovacic, who was poor towards the end of the season for Chelsea and got dropped for the biggest games, actually. So, yeah, I've got England comfortably winning with Croatia following. You got England topping it, Key?
Yeah, I had England top, Croatia, Scotland, and then Czech Republic. But the way McGinn's been playing, don't be surprised if Scotland comes second or something like that. I reckon they could give Croatia a game, to be fair. I think Scotland are going to go into it on a high, and it like they can't believe they're there. So just go and play. Like, but I think they can cause a few upsets. Hopefully not against England, but England should top that group comfortably, I think.
Scotland are just so lucky, bro, because like their best two players are left backs. Like, shit, like what the fuck, man? It's so unfortunate. Yeah, it's just
says it all. I think England sweep the group. I don't know if I'm happy about them sweeping the group because it means they get the runner-up from the group of death,
Yeah.
which in the next round, which makes things a little bit more difficult. But they should sweep this group. I got Croatia second. I got Czech Republic third and Scotland last. I just think the lack of experience for Scotland in like high games, high leverage games, other than Robertson, no one else there really has played in massive games. I know Tierney played bare years for Celtic and played in Old Firm games and stuff, but I mean like big games. McTominay's played in a couple of big Champions League games and stuff, but you know, you're relying on Shea Adams for your goals and it's not enough. It's not enough. At international level, it's not enough. It's not enough for Southampton, so it's definitely not enough here, I don't think. I got Scotland rock bottom.
Yeah, I probably agree too. Group E is interesting, you know, because you look at Spain's squad, you don't know how to feel about them. And you got Poland, for me, who will top the group because they've got the best striker in the world. And their teams played together for so long. They just know each other in and out. They had another great qualifying, as they pretty much always do for these big tournaments. They're always there these days. So I've got them top of the group with Spain coming second and Sweden taking third spot, but also going through because I think Slovakia are just going to get battered, Key. But
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, looking at it, Sweden, Poland, Spain, they'll all fight for second, obviously. I think Spain might just edge it. Poland second, Sweden third, and Slovakia at bottom. I think that would be the order. I think Spain might be just too experienced for everyone else, which would probably get him through to top spot. But then Lewandowski, and if he turns up, bro, that Spain back four's inexperience playing together and whatnot, he could have a field day against them, you know.
Exactly, it's a massive transition for Spain because normally a lot of their players they come from Barcelona, Real Madrid, so they've got a great deal of familiarity of playing with each other. Whereas there's no Real Madrid players at all, and a lot of the experience is gone. And you've got players like Laporte, who's literally just talking to these guys for the very first time in his career, and a lot of new faces. I mean, yeah, Jamal, this is another one where I wouldn't be surprised if it just blew up. But yeah, I don't think
I went back and forth on this group like 5 or 6 times. I don't know. Spain are a bit like Holland. I don't know how much faith you can put in them, but more so from like what you said, just a lack of familiarity. There's so many names that just aren't sort of used to being here. Laporte's one. Pau Torres, I know he's been in the last few squads, but he's not like a regular face. The Brighton keeper, what's his name? Adama Traore, Pedri at Barca. It's like a transition phase. It's not quite what it is or what it was. I've got second behind Poland and Sweden third, but it could end up anywhere. Anyone could go through from this group. This was the hardest group to call.
Really, you guys are not as high on Poland as I am.
Nah, one man band, bro. I just other than Lewandowski, outside of that, there's Zelensky. There's other good players, but there's no like second star. At least with Spain, they've still got top players. They've still got Laporte. They've still got Thiago. They've still got top players there. I just don't know if outside Lewandowski, Poland have got one.
Well, when it comes to international football, especially, if your best player, especially in Poland's case, their best player is literally their best player in this position in the whole entire world. Having him as a striker is so key because his teammates will listen to him, so they'll always be looking to get the ball in early. They won't overplay. As many times as they can give him the ball, they will just give it to him. And if he does his job, if he's a job and he just finishes, then that's a good recipe for success in international football for me. Because you got that focal point, But yeah, talking of focal points, Germany and Timo Werner. This could be another World Cup situation. You got your Joachim Löw going out, just going out sad really, and both last few tournaments. So Key, yeah, I'll start with you. Where have you got Germany finishing in this group, Group F?
I it was hard, but I did have them coming third. I think they'll just beat Hungary, whatever score they might need to, but then come unstuck against France, and they could probably nick something against Portugal. I think it's a group that goes down to goal difference. I think between the first and third, but the big three should get through. Which just where I had France topping the group, Portugal come in second, Hungary rock bottom. I don't think they grab any points at all.
Their goal difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight over to you, Jamal, bro. Have you got the same order? So I think it was France.
I've got the same. Yeah, I got that order. Yeah, that's what I've got. I think Germany are gonna struggle defensively more so than going forward. I'm not even too sure Werner's gonna play. Really,
We'll start front.
He could, but Havertz has played well as a false nine in recent weeks. Yeah. Thomas Muller's back in the squad. Maybe wants to put him back down the middle as a nine. I don't think it's, whereas the World Cup, it kind of had to play him down the middle. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think they've got alternatives that they can play there. But I think Germany win against Hungary. I think they'll draw against one of Portugal or France and lose against one of Portugal or France. I think they're just about scrape through the group and just about get out as one of the best third place finishes. But I don't have high hopes for them in the tournament. I don't think it helps that they know the manager's leaving. I don't think that helps. I think if they would have waited until after the tournament, kept it in-house, then maybe they'd have a bit more motivation. But I just, even him, even the manager himself, he's won a World Cup. There's not really much that he's got left to prove with the national team. Been to semi-finals, finals. He's done a good job. He's brought through the next batch of generational talents and stuff for the country. He's done his job in it, so it's a weird dynamic with them at the minute.
I've got the same list as you guys have as well. So just to go back to your point about Joachim Löw, but could you not flip that and say that the team, especially the core players who he's been coaching for years, they'll be doing this for him, they'll be fighting for him. And you do say they've won the World Cup, but they haven't won the Euros. So that's something that they can achieve. So it'd be a good sign-off and to mark their stamp of the last 10 years as one of the truly great national teams that we've seen. Because, I mean, Spain done something similar, didn't they?
They could. They could. I don't think they will. Like I said, I look defensively, especially at centre back. I'm not big on Hummels anymore. Is not what he was. I'm not big on Nicolas Sula. I'm not sold entirely on Rudiger, even though he ended the season well and won the Champions League and whatnot. I'm just not overly sold on them. Fullbacks still seems to sort of be an issue. I mean, they'll probably play Kimmich at right back, but left back, I'm not overly sold at any of the left backs. I think in midfield, in Kroos and Gundogan and Goretzka, they've got a solid base. And the two wingers, I'm going to get onto one of the wingers later, but the two wingers, they should, on paper, the team's not bad in it. I just think the deeper they go into the tournament, I'm just not so sure they're going to hold up defensively. And I think that's what might cost them.
All right, cool. So at least we've all got Germany coming through as the third place team. But so we'll take a little break now and we'll come back and we'll tell you guys who's going to win the Golden Boot and who's the player to watch. All right, cool. So we're back. I'll start here. So the player to watch for me is Thiago Alcantara for Spain. Liverpool, this season with Liverpool, it was underwhelming, even though he picked up towards the end of the season. I was expecting much more because he's one of my favourite players to watch for many years. And for Spain to do anything really, he has to be the key man. I want to see a tournament like we did from Iniesta in 2012. Those are the type of levels that he can play at, and those are the type of levels that Spain require him to be at. Jamal, do you think he can reach that standard?
I don't. I think it's unfair to ask him to get to that level as well. I think you go back 10 years to the Euros 2012. Iniesta was in his prime years, his best years, with a great supporting cast. I don't think Thiago's in his best years, and I don't think he's got a great supporting cast. So it's difficult to ask him to hit a certain level. I think he'll have a decent tournament. He'll do what Thiago does. Keep the ball well, move the ball well, progressive passes and stuff. Silky footballer. We know what he's good at. We know what he offers and that. But
30 years old. 30 years old that's his prime years for a midfielder. No?
Yeah, but you look at Iniesta, the players he had around him. He had Xavi, he had his club mates, Busquets, he had Alonso around him. He had top players around him. Thiago doesn't have that. Thiago ain't got that. That he also was in a team of winners. None of this current Spain group have won anything nationally. Jordi Alba might have, but it's not. I think it's a different situation. I think he can have a good tournament, but I don't think he'll reach that level. That level you're talking about was one of the best performances from a midfielder in a tournament.
I mean individually. When I say for them to reach that level for Spain to do anything, Key, I don't necessarily mean for them to, because in 2012 they literally just swept their way through. It was a mismatch in every single game. They won the final 4-0. I don't expect them to do that. For me, success for Spain would be semi-final, quarterfinals, something like that. Key, can they achieve that, or is that, again, as Jamal says, am I asking too much from Spain?
I think they can do it. If Spain, let's say Spain top the group, who do they play from the next group? Is it Group D? Is it?
I'm not sure.
I think runner up.
Runner up a Group D, is it?
The runner up a Group D, which is our group.
So then you're talking Croatia. England, Croatia, or Czech Republic. I think that they can beat England, Czech Republic, and whoever else. But I don't know with Spain at the moment. I think it's just because we're so used to watching a Barcelona and Real Madrid team put together on the international stage, and then they just sweep everyone so easily. I'm not sure they've got that weight anymore. Like, they were such a good team.
Okay, I'm disappointed with this take from you, because this is your league.
Bro, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bro, I'm not sure. Individually, yeah, they're sick, but I've been watching them in like the qualifiers and whatnot. It's not Enrique, it's the players, and you can see it's the lack of experience. Eric Garcia at the back, players like this, they can be very costly to them, but they should be fine. I'm saying quarterfinals at least for Spain. Whatever they do afterwards, you got to give them props for if they go that far. But I'm saying quarterfinals at least.
Cool. So who's your player to watch?
Player to watch for me is Kimmich.
Oh, that's
Kimmich for me.
I was contemplating putting him down, but I just wasn't sure where he was going to play.
Yeah, I'd say Kimmich, man. For me, like over the past 3 seasons or so, I know he's been playing in German league, but I've had him as like one of the best footballers in Europe. His IQ is just so heavy, man. Like he plays like he's in his prime already, like deep into his prime, and he's only like 20, 23, or is it? He's good. Well, he's just too good, man. He's just too good at football. But I think with Germany, it depends where they're playing him. If they're playing him at right back, then I think it's a slight hindrance in like what he can do. But if he's being played in midfield, definitely one to watch, man.
All right, cool. Just to touch on that, Kimmich is 26, so he's
26.
older than he looks, but yeah, he's banging his prime, like you say. For you, Jamal, who's your player to watch?
I've got a couple, Is that all right? I've got like 3 or 4. that I'm trying to keep an eye on. I couldn't pick just one. I couldn't pick just one, man. It's a big tournament. I couldn't pick just one. I had who did I have? Wait there. Look at my notes. I had Chiesa of Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I think as good as their midfield is going to be, and I think as good as Immobile will be down the middle, I think he's going to be their most dangerous player in terms of his pace, his directness. He knows where the back of the net is. I think him out wide, Insigne out wide, they're going to have good tournaments. I got a good feeling about Italy, you know, a really good feeling. I think he's going to play a big part in it. I got my eye on him.
I wonder where your man back him.
Maybe I have already. I've got Ferran Torres of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a weird season because I think when I saw him for City, I wasn't overly impressed with what I was seeing. He didn't cost big money. He didn't come with massive hype, but there was times like the goal he scored against Newcastle the other week.
No.
You can see he's got something there, but he just ain't really shown it consistently with City, which is I can't really criticize him too much. He's got Mahrez and Sterling and Foden, etc. All these top players ahead of him. But with Spain, especially in the first half of the season, all he was doing every time he played for Spain, the ball was in the back of the net. When was it Germany they battered?
Yeah.
I think he scored. He might have scored a hat trick in that game. Every time he seemed to touch the pitch for Spain earlier in the season, he was scoring goals. And I think in this tournament, in the forward areas, they're going to struggle massively. I think Morata as their number 9 is a danger. I think Adama Traore as one of the wingers is a danger.
No, listen, we laugh at Adama Traore, but
he's not putting up numbers. He's not putting up numbers. He might be a running back, bruv. He's a running back, bruv. He might put up numbers. He might cause havoc in that sense, but he ain't putting up no numbers, bruv. He's not scoring goals.
Kilometers on the map.
Yeah, bruv. He's doing a 100-yard dash, and I'm not interested in him. Torres is really, in my opinion, the only one that's shown that he's gonna be able to score for Spain. So I think I'm interested in seeing him. Bruno in Group F. I'm interested in seeing Bruno. Not because I've got energy. I'm just saying with Bruno at Sporting, he was the main man. He was the talisman. At United, he's the main man. He's the talisman. I'm interested to see what kind of role he takes on. He's not the main man, and he's not the talisman. So I'm interested to see how he kind of navigates that when the attention isn't quite fully on him. There's genuine top players around him all over the pitch. The ball's not always going to be at his feet like it is at United. Something's gone wrong at United. Find Bruno, he'll find a way. It's not going to be the case, I don't think, with Portugal. So I'm interested to see how he does. If he can carry on, he's put up a lot of goals and assists this season. If they're going to have a good chance at this tournament, I don't think they can just rely on Ronaldo. And I think he's going to need to pop up with some big goals and big moments. Listen, we said it a few months ago, I'd use that scene to have him up there with KDB. I'm not too sure. These tournaments full of big games. He needs some big. He ain't had one. He has not had one yet. He needs a big game, and there's going to be this tournament. If they're going to win it, there's going to be a big game that you need to see from him. I just don't know if he's got it in him.
You're right. You are right, bro. He's got no excuse because the way that Portugal are probably going to line him up, they'll put him in a number 10 as he wants to be. Bernardo Silva on the right, Felix, or however many options. They've got good options to put on the left, and they've got Ronaldo up front, and you've got 2 sitters who are not going to move from there. So your defensive freedom is non-existent. I mean, your defensive responsibilities are just non-existent. So yeah, you are right. He has to perform for Portugal to get far. But yeah,
I got one more player as well. Sorry, Sane. I was big on Sane at City. Thought he was a top talent, unbelievable talent. I'm surprised they didn't try and do more to keep him. Surprised they let him get down to within a year of his contract. 50 million at the time to me when he went to Bayern seemed like a snip. Didn't have a great year in Germany. 6 goals, 9 assists in 32 games. It's not great. The PSG game, I remember speaking to you at the time about it. Both, more so the first leg, absolutely stunk. Yeah. Was it the first leg or the second leg? It was one of the legs. He stunk in one of
First
them
one
legs.
at the
Oh my
Allianz.
god!
Yeah.
It was tough to watch. It was tough to
first
watch,
one,
man.
yeah.
It was tough to watch, and I think, if you think that Timo Werner's going to start up front, they can't afford to have another passenger up front. He's going to play on one of the wings. They can't afford to have two passengers in that forward line. So I think he needs a big tournament. I think he's capable of it. He's coming off the back. I know he missed last year at City with an injury, basically the whole year, and it might have had to take him a bit of time to get up to speed. But at a tournament now, this is where the big players come and show themselves as big players, and I think he's got the potential to be one. So I'm expecting big things from him. He's one to watch for me.
All right, cool. So we're going to have one more break, and then after this break, we're going to come back and tell you who is going to win the silverware. So who's going to scoop up top goal scorer, the golden ball for best player, and the actual tournament. And we're back. So yeah, boys, who is going to be the top goal scorer? Who's going to take home the golden boot? Key.
I've got 3 players listed down.
Bro, come on, don't do what Jamal.
In...
They're not going to share, are they?
I got 3. In no particular order. I think Gerard Moreno. I think he's going to grab a few goals for Spain if Morata's not on form, and he does play. But even if he does play from the right, I think he's going to get a few goals for Spain. Second player, I've got Ronaldo. I just think Portugal are just going to prioritise him and get the ball to him whenever they can. I think that's all Bruno's going to be there to do. And then last, Harry Kane. Because I think he's coming home. I think Kane's just going to fire us to glory, man. I think Kane can do it, to be fair. Just like what he done at the World Cup, isn't he? He got the golden boot at the World Cup. He's going to carry that momentum on after a good season with Spurs. I think he's going to bring it home for us, man. Yeah. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Yeah. Therefore, hopefully, I'd love to see Kane win it, 100%. But these next few picks, you're going to notice a pattern, really. So, for me, the top goal scorer is going to be Lukaku. Firstly, to be top goal scorer, what you need, in my opinion, is an easy group that you can just stockpile goals a la Kane in the World Cup. So Kane pretty much got all of his goals in the group stage. So, and Belgium have got that, and they will score loads of goals. And Lukaku is always up there in these tournaments in terms of goal scoring. So, yeah, I think Lukaku is going to be top goal scorer, Jamal. I saw you nodding. Is that agreement?
Yeah. I had him and Kane, but I just think his group, he'll put big numbers in the group. And then I think if England top the group like I expect them to, they're likely going to play France or Portugal in the next round. And I'm not sure if we've got enough to beat them. So you could be saying Kane could be playing 4 games, whereas Lukaku could go a lot further. So I think Lukaku will be golden boot winner still. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Back to you then, Joel. Quick, who is the golden ball winner for best overall player?
I've gone with Marco Verratti. Marco Verratti for me. I think, as I've said the whole part, I think Italy are dark horses. No one's really mentioning them. And I think when you think of best midfielders in the world, no one ever really brings him up.
Yeah.
And I think he's legitimately, Nick, how long I've been a fan of him. He's legitimately one of the best in the world. And I think he'll show it in this tournament. There's not a flaw in his game. He's tenacious. He's technically unbelievable. Great under pressure. Can receive the ball whenever. Defensively switched on. Ticks every box. I think he could show it. If they're to have a good tournament, I don't even think they necessarily have to win it. I think if he can have a good tournament and maybe get to a semis, I think he could win the golden ball.
Key, who have you got? I think if you've got England going all the way or near all the way, are you backing Kane, one of the boys from England?
Not really. I think I did say Kante. I few weeks ago to mates, only because of like what he's been doing. Is it man of the match every game in the Champions League from the quarterfinals, was it, or something like that?
Yeah.
And I remember the podcast we done a few months back now, and we were saying he's so out of touch with what he used to be doing and whatnot. And all of a sudden he's just switched on. Man in the matches here and there, and he's, you know, I want to say carried Chelsea, but he did make a change to Chelsea, and I think with this French team, that's exactly what he's going to do there. I think so. I think Kante might just edge it, but I would go with Verratti as well. To be fair.
All right, cool. So Verratti, Kante. I've got Eden Hazard. The comeback, the comeback tour is going to begin in June 11th or whenever Belgium play their first game. You two, especially you two, this is going to be for you two in particular, You've doubted this guy for how many years? He's had a bad time at Real. He's been injured, whatever. He's getting weight. But this is going to be the comeback for the ages, You'll see. He's going to win the Golden Ball. Lukaku's going to win the top goal scorer. And I'll ruin it now. I think Belgium are going to win the whole Euros. Eden Hazard he's going to roll back the years. 100% watch.
But defensively though, Belgium, man, they're shaky, bro. Jason Denayer, Alderweireld. Meunier. Meunier.
No, it's fine.
Bro.
They got that cast. Exceptional. Going forward, they've got Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Thomas Meunier, and
bro, they're finished.
Whoever left back.
Let's talk about 36-year-old centre backs.
That can do it.
Left back, they got that Castan in it from Leicester, if that's how you pronounce it.
Castagna, yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah, bro, nah, man. Defensively, they're a bit shaky. Courtois, you never know what Courtois you're going to get. Good keeper, don't get me wrong.
Who's going to win the Euros for you then? Actually, you know what? I've jumped the gun there. I just got too emotional about Hazard. Before that, we got before that
Hazard
dark horses. So I'll kick it off. I had Spain. I mean, I like the look of the team on paper. I know it's a lot of new faces, but apart from the striker, it's looking really good. Laporte makes a massive difference. Without Laporte, I could see them going out in group stages, but if he takes leadership and command of that defence, they've got Aspilicueta, who was just really good at in the Champions League, leading Chelsea to the Champions League final. But yeah, I mean, it's just dark horses. I fancy them to get to maybe the semi-finals or the quarters. But yeah, if they was to win it, if Thiago does his Iniesta impression, maybe they could go far. But yeah, we'll see. Joel, Spain, I know you're not too keen on them, but who's your dark horse?
Italy, man. Italy, I look at the squad, I think the spine of the team, they've got a great young goalkeeper in Donnarumma, 2 experienced centre-backs in Bonucci and Chiellini. They've got younger centre-backs. Bastoni at Inter's had a really good breakout season, just won the league. The midfield, say it again, Verratti, Jorginho, Barella, Pellegrini, Locatelli. They've got so many talented midfielders in there. They've got a goal scorer up front in Immobile, not just like 1 or 2 seasons, been consistently since he's been at Lazio the last 5 or 6 years, scoring goals. They got goals from out wide, Chiesa and Insigne. Got a solid team, man. They got a solid team, a manager that knows how to win things, which I think is a difference when you look at someone like Belgium. Martinez, in a manager that feels with confidence. Southgate at England. I looked down the list, man. It don't scream out at you, man. Italy have got an easy group. I expect them to top the group.
Yeah.
I think if they top the group, I think they play a 3rd place runner-up, I think. Third place finisher, sorry. So I've got faith in them, man. I don't really see much flaws. And they're Italian, they know how to defend. If the going gets tough, they can defend, man. I think they could go all the way.
They have got good pedigree. It's definitely a good shout, Kee. Who are your dark horses?
Mine was Spain as well, bro. Spain as well. I think that youth about them, that on paper it's a good team, and obviously when it comes to the crunch, can they actually do it? Can they knock out a big boy and then go on to win the thing? They've got it in them, I think, but obviously actually doing it, we don't know. I did have Germany, but it's true what Jam said earlier. What will they do? Will they see logo in as let's just forget about this Euros already, or will they be up for it? For me, I'm leaning towards them not really being up for it and just participating really, and then finding out what the next chapter holds with Flick. But it's one of the two, Spain or Germany, I think I had for dark horses.
Yeah, just to go back on Spain, what you was just saying, I completely agree. What Spain need this year compared to previous years is that they need these players, these players that were supposed to be the natural successors of the Xavi and Iniestas and Busquets, Alonso. They need these guys to actually stand up and make account for themselves. And I'm looking at exactly. I'm looking at Thiago. I'm looking at Koke. I'm looking at Saúl Ñíguez. These guys.
Is that going? So
Saúl's not going.
No, Saúl's not in the squad, bro.
So I'm saying, Nick, they're fooling you, man. They're
not in the squad,
they're
bro.
fooling you, man.
Regardless, Koke and Thiago, this still applies. These players
Busquets is still there.
Themselves to be count. Busquets, I don't want to be seeing Busquets even playing, bro. Like,
really?
Busquets is finished. Yeah, Busquets is finished. He shouldn't have gone like at all. He's just not. I'm a big fan of Busquets. Ask you out, bro. Busquets was my guy.
Yeah, bro. I know how much you like Busquets.
Yeah, Busquets was my guy, but yo, it's been a hard watch since like 2018. Man. Seen him at the end of his career. But yeah, for me, as I was just saying, going back on the Golden Ball, I think Belgium are going to win this year's Euros. They've had their lumps, bro. They always seem to be getting to the semi-finals of this major tournament, and they just fall short by a little bit. Was it they lost to who was it? Was it France at the World Cup? And it was a 1-0. It was a tiny, thin margins. They played better in that game, actually, if I remember correctly, than France. But they've lacked that bit of luck that needs to get them over the edge. And also, bro, they have to win it. This is their last major tournament with this current crop. They're all in their 30s now.
Exactly. That's why they're not going to win it. They're all in their 30s. De Bruyne can't stay fit. And that isn't coming off the best season. Don't get me started on Hazard. Who else? Mertens, 30s. Nasser Chadley's in the squad.
Obviously,
Thomas from Ireland's in the squad. Bro, they're all
Marlon's in the squad.
They're all, bro. Don't get me started. Belgium, you know what they remind me of? Remind me of the Milwaukee Bucks, bro. The same, every time the tournaments come around, the big end of season stuff, the hype starts. They're frauds, man. I'm sick of them. Every single one of them.
Did De Bruyne go? I know he had that black eye, but did he join up with the squad?
He's with them, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I use that as an advantage where they've been together as a collective, yeah. They know, they've felt that pain, like, whereas teams like Germany and Spain and that, it's one of these new guys, new players. Whereas these Belgian guys, they know, if you don't turn up this year, like looking at these guys next to you in the locker room, in the changing rooms, they won't be there in 4 years' time, in 2 years' time when the World Cup and the Euros come about. It's now or never, basically.
Nick, just look at how they went out of the last Euros. That's all I gotta say.
See, that's
pass your mind back to Hal Robson Carney. That's all I gotta say.
When I say
they can't be taken serious, bro.
Man, that's what that. They're ready. I think they're ready. So anyway, Joel, who have you got to win the whole Euro?
I've got France. They're so deep. They're way too deep, man, and they're not even at full strength, in my opinion. There's certain players that are there, like Sissoko, that shouldn't be there. You think of the players they've left out in the squad that they've actually got, it's quite scary. But I think, if not, I think the winner comes out of Group F. I think it's France, but I wouldn't be shocked at Portugal either.
Yeah. So for me personally, I struggle to pick Portugal because even in 26, okay, 2016, I backed them, but I wasn't convinced like watching them. You know what I mean? Whereas, for example, let's say France in 2018 in the World Cup, we were like, yeah, I feel good about these guys. Just watching them as you go along. Portugal, they're always just umming and ahhing and like they're very. You have to like push them over the line, no matter what talent they've got, which I don't understand, and I can't trust that because in a tournament like this, one loss and you're gone, one loss you're going home. Group stage, semis or whatever, it's really tricky. But yeah, Key, who do you favour to come to win out of them two options that Jamal just mentioned, France and Portugal?
Yeah, prior to the podcast, I had France and Italy to do the job.
Okay, cool.
Mancini he knows how to win. He's won major trophies before, so I don't think the Euros will phase him at all. And then France, as Jamal said, they're just in too deep, and the bench is like for likes. They've got pace, power. Like even just looking at the midfield now, they're just stacked, and the subs can make impacts. You know what I mean? That's what you need in these competitions. Subs that make impacts. If you take off Mbappe, you got Dembele. It's things like that, and now they've added Benzema. If you take him off, you got Giroud. It's looking good for France, I'd say.
For France, yeah. I mean, I prefer them over Portugal, but I wouldn't say with as much conviction as you used to were saying it. When you say the squad depth, it's a tournament, it's not a league format. So for me, that's a bit irrelevant. It matters the team that the Champs is going to put out every game. And first of all, I don't trust that team because he's took Sissoko. Whatever team he's going to select is going to be a bit iffy. I mean, like the 2018 World Cup, in my opinion, they won it in spite of the manager. The 2016 Euros, they got to the final in spite of the manager. Him being there, he's going to make a mistake somewhere, and I think he'll get punished. I wouldn't. Their group is so hard that the room for error for France and Portugal and Germany likewise, it's just very, very small.
You think like a tactical mistake or selection mistake? What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think so. He's gonna throw something in the work, something like, for example, he had the Tweedy starting on the left the whole World Cup or whatever, and it happened, but it didn't look great. I think he could do something like Sissoko starting at right midfield for the whole Euros, like something crazy like that, and then it just won't work out. I think you have to watch out for that coach, man. Jamal, I know you backed them. They've got talent, but doesn't Deschamps scare you at all? No.
He. I don't think he's a top manager. I don't think he's like an elite level coach or anything. But I think the way they won the World Cup wasn't the way I thought they would win the World Cup. They were quite I don't want to say pragmatic. Yeah, they were pragmatic. They weren't. You spoke about the Belgian game earlier. They weren't blowing teams away. I think they blew Argentina away and they blew away in the final. Other games, I don't really remember them going out and just battering teams.
They could have gone
even in the groups. I don't think they battered the groups. I just think that
to Uruguay, they could have easily went out to Uruguay. I remember that game.
Yeah.
Reece played really.
I think defensively, I think they're solid, man. I think the way he sets them up with Kante in front, they're comfortable knowing that they can defend, and then they've got Griezmann and Mbappe and now Benzema up front to score the goals. I just think they've got too much. I think with them, and I think with Portugal, it's about having more so with Portugal. We know who the main man is. Everyone knows Ronaldo's the main man of that team. I think what he's lacked in his international career is he's never had a good supporting cast. He's always had Nani and Quaresma and Eder and all scored in the finals. He's had them type of players in it. This time around, he's got legitimately really good players around him, talented players around him. I think you've got in him the most clutch player on the planet. Get him to a quarterfinals, get him to the semis, get him to the finals, get him on the pitch. do your job behind him, get the right supporting cast around him. I think they've got a solid chance. I think it's hard to split them on France, but if I had to push one, I'd say France because they're fresh off the back of the World Cup. They're fresh. That the majority of this squad won the World Cup, whereas the team that won the Euros for Portugal slightly different. There's still some players there, Pepe, Ronaldo, and Carvalho and stuff. There's new faces. There's fresh blood in this Portugal team. It's not quite the same for France. I think they're still quite fresh.
There's a lot of league winners in that Portuguese side as well, to be fair. I mean, a lot of the starting 11 have just won trophies, like Felix, Font. They've all won trophies. Renato Sanchez.
What did Bruno win?
Bruno won
United Player of the Year. I won the Stretford Player of the Year, you know.
Other than Bruno, there's a lot of winners.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. So Euro start Friday, something to look forward to. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Countdown 2 podcast. As always, thanks to Kee and Jamal for coming through, giving great insight as always. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow the podcast on Spotify. Peace.